I feel like this is something that a lot of people can resonate with to a degree, but uh, I've noticed that over time, YouTube has become more of a commercialized thing, which isn't inherently bad. I think it's a great thing that people can make money on this platform, but it does seem like it has been taken too far in how people have reacted to that. And what I mean is, YouTube is just loud and annoying, and it's manufactured. Obviously, there's always going to be some level of manufacturing when it comes to videos. Like, obviously, people have a format, people have a process, people want to do what does well, but everybody does the same thing of making their videos incredibly loud because of audience retention, and for that same reason it's also very hyper and fast paced. And a lot of these are just to attract kids because kids will be watching more often, and that feeds their channels and the whole platform as a whole a lot more. But I do wish that something was done to help incentivize quieter content as well. More relaxing and normal and paced out content. I don't think it's unheard of for that type of content to be out there. You have content like Nexpo, which is incredibly well produced and very quiet and relaxing often in how it is edited and portrayed. And that channel does well. There are other channels as well that do similar thing. You also have videos by people like Wendigoon, which is very simple, long format, and interesting despite that. He doesn't have to fight you constantly for your attention and hit you with all this high energy, high speed, fast paced information overdumps. It just works. And those channels are great. But I really wish there was more people just making quiet and mature content. It often feels like, especially if you go into gaming, it looks like you have to deal with the most hyperactive, overinflated, and fake personalities and energies. And it just gets exhausting. Like, I don't want to watch people play a game if they're going every 3 seconds. Hello there. My name is blah, 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 and I'm back at you again with another video. I get sick of that. I don't want to if I open a video and that's what it starts with, I get sick of it. I just don't want to watch it anymore. But if I see a video and it starts off slowly, but interestingly, and it's throughout the video, it's more quiet and thoughtful and feels a lot more mature, I'm definitely going to stick around with that channel because that is a bit of a gem. Even some videos that maybe aren't trying to be relaxing, but are just simply sitting in front of a camera talking normally. I do greatly appreciate those types of channels and videos. Video essays are probably the best form of this, but even video essays I do think are getting infected by that sort of mainstream hyper infectious attitude, loudness, whatever you want to call it. I kind of lost my trail of thought in that description there, but I think you get what I mean. It feels like they're fighting for your attention. Like everything is just fighting for your attention, and it's like a war to just grab you in as much as possible. So it has to be as bright and over the top and fast paced and loud as possible to keep you from getting distracted and going to something else. It is just a battle to trap you. And in that way, it literally feels like a trap and it gets exhausting. But because oftentimes that's literally all that's out there, You have to fall for that trap if you just want some entertainment, which sucks. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to act delusional and say that this is all that's out there and that this like more quiet, mature, and paced out content doesn't exist. I named a couple examples, but there's also tons more out there. But I just wish that there was more of it, that it was the majority. And unfortunately, I don't see that ever changing. I just want more people to keep creating that style of content that isn't constantly warring to give you the biggest dopamine hit and keep you from clicking away as much as possible. So that maybe the internet could be a little bit less of this insane information overload, at least on YouTube. I don't ever see that ever really happening, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't think the internet is ever going to not be this information overload of dopamine. But I really wish it could, over time, be transformed to not be that, and to be a little bit less overstimulating. That would be ideal to me. But unfortunately, it likely won't happen. Especially with the influence of kids on the platform, and how important capturing them and their attention is if you want a really high speed growth channel when it comes to stuff like gaming. If Let's Plays were to make a comeback, that would be great. And by Let's Plays making a comeback, I mean just this, like, these long series going on as just kind of some guy playing a game, maybe making a few jokes just as their personality is, and that's it. Not them trying to put on this fake, overexcited, over-exaggerative personality. If that's how they are, then that's how they are. But I don't think that's how most people are on YouTube. Because what I see when I click on a lot of gaming videos is very obviously a caricature. And it's a loud one, an annoying one. And even if you are just genuinely annoying, that still doesn't make it less annoying. That doesn't make it less overstimulating and frustrating. It just makes it a little bit more honest, I guess. In that, okay, at least I don't think that you're obnoxious. I just don't really want to watch this. But you're cool, I guess. Which, I guess you have that. At first, I think you saw glimpses of them being a little bit more than this insane overstimulation. Like, I think you had a... I think you definitely had a little bit less of it online in the earlier days of the internet, at least insofar as it wasn't the only way to gain traction, oftentimes. But it definitely always did exist. You definitely had that overexcited overstimulation even at the dawn of the internet. It was always kind of destined in our modern society that's so hooked on dopamine hits that the internet would be transformed to be so overstimulating even more and more as time goes on. But that sucks. All I can hope for is that more alternatives of more mature and well-made content, or quieter content, I guess I should say, can pop up, and that we get more of those alternatives. And that maybe it can become easier to find those alternatives, because there are plenty that exist, but oftentimes it just gets randomly given to you at any given point, and you can't really control that. It's not really an easy, super easy way to find and seek out that stuff. You just gotta cherish it once you find it. Basically what I'm saying is that I hate production value. Production value is lame. Especially with AI content making a hit where it doesn't even feel like if something looks impressive, that it is impressive. Like, it could feel faker the more effort you put into it. And I just... why bother at that point? Why bother putting in so much effort into editing, into thumbnails, into all this stuff, when you could just make something that is so obviously authentic and real, and it can hit closer to home to a lot of people? Why bother? Why? I don't understand what could possibly be actually fulfilling about it, other than just success, which is fair, but to me, I definitely get frustrated at it. Either way, I went on a bit of a rant there because it can frustrate me how often it is so much of a struggle to just find content to put on the background or watch for entertainment that isn't so hyper that isn't so hyper and overstimulating. Either way, if you have any channels that are very good in avoiding this overstimulation while being still very entertaining, please, I encourage you, share them down below. I am so interested to see what other people have found. And I think this is a great opportunity for people to just share a gem of a channel that doesn't fall into that overstimulation trap. And even outside of that, even if you don't have a channel you want to share, please let me know your thoughts on this. I want to know what other people think. So, as usual, share your thoughts on my thoughts. Either way, God bless you and keep you.